Morning, morning, everybody. Michelle is here on this Monday, y'all. I was wondering, I was looking out the window and wondering why is all those vehicles parked out there? Because usually, um, first, like I said, we are packed over here with vehicles. You know what I mean? And in this apartment complex, each apartment complex is supposed to supply their residents with parking. And I'm lucky that I can because I don't want to park on the street because I know what's going to happen. A lot of these vehicles that are on the street, you can tell they've been hit and slammed into, and sometimes I even hear it. There are people slamming into parked cars and carrying on. Um, so I was wondering, I said, well, why are these vehicles still here? Because usually I hear them revving up and people take it off. You know why? Because it's a holiday, and you know what that means. Not a goddamn thing. How about that? You know what I mean? But so what, right? Um, I you know I love it when first of all I love it when I make mistakes because that's when I say that now, but of course as I was developing, that was unheard of. Do not make mistakes. And people were so afraid to make mistakes, and if they made a mistake, they're gonna, instead of saying, "Oh my gosh, I made a mistake," no, they're gonna keep justifying that they were right. I know I was right. I was right. I was right. No, and arguing, and then everything gets lost, and nobody knows what's going on, and what the conversation, supposedly a conversation, is more like a debate. In the debates, to me, the message is always lost in debates. And when you're arguing more specifically and especially, you lose the. It's like, okay, what are we arguing about? What was this all about? It becomes, you start arguing with people, especially if you're like involved with somebody. Test it out. I guarantee this is what usually happens if you're not conscious. You start arguing about something, and guess what? They're gonna bring up something that happened a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago. They say, "Well, you didn't do this." Wait, I didn't know it was a problem then. Why didn't you bring it up then? Why are you bringing it up now? You know how that goes. That's what's arguing and debating, where everything is lost. The meaning and the intentions of the discussion that was hoped to be a discussion is lost. So yeah, but there's no parking here. Okay, I mean there's parking here, but there's no parking here. And I noticed, like I said, that everybody's on. These vehicles are still on the street. So I was like, wow, what's going on? So that's what I know. And we're celebrating these manufactured holidays. And a lot of people really cannot afford to be taken off because some don't get paid. But if their business said they're going to close, what are you supposed to do? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. So anyway, I'm so glad like I said, when I make mistakes, and I know the value in doing so, even though it's not like that's my intention. But I realize how we all have been indoctrinated by these so-called high-profile celebrities that are supposedly, our saviors, and they're supposedly usually the ones that have, had these detrimental and abusive childhoods, where they escape a certain reality, that they have put forward, right? And I realize, and these are my theories and opinions. Okay, I told you during my development, as I'm developing, because I'm always developing, and it's irrelevant what I call it. You get these certain, you're supposed to, you pick up, you start enhancing your realities, supposedly, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing, enhancing our realities and attempting to make sense of what we went through. And then sometimes if you're honest, and that's the whole idea, if you are honest, it's about self-honesty. It's like, okay, what? what really happened there? Did this actually happen? Because I can guarantee you a lot of people have no idea what happened to them in their adolescence or in their childhoods per se. Because of it all depends on the environment. If you had that opportunity to even consider it. And a lot of us, as children and adolescents, our mentality is different. Our reality is different. A lot of us spend a lot of time in our fantasies. A lot of us. Whereas there was a thin line between reality and fantasy. Kids play, if you're paying attention to them, they're usually in their own little world playing with, a lot of them used to have these, what do you call them, invisible friends. They had another name for it, but I think it's invisible friends. And there was just a lot in their space of fantasy going on. And so sometimes they had no idea what was going on, behind the scenes, in their home, outside their home, more so within the home, because, they're just in their own little world. And then, I used to hear a lot of parents saying to their children, you need to pay attention. How many times has anyone heard their parents saying that or heard that being said to kids? Pay attention. So I suspect that, there's a lot of things about our childhood and our adolescence that is filtered with fantasy. This is not to say that what someone has experienced they did not experience it. I mean, I've shared some things with you as well about my childhood, and that's because I can visually remember it. Now, am I going to be able to hear what someone said to me when I was in the first grade? No, I'm not going to be able to hear it, but I can still remember first grade, actually. Now, what was said, no, I can't, unless I had a reason to have that imprinted in my consciousness. If I had a reason to have an imprint of it. And especially how I felt. Well, the thing is about feelings, if they're not managed, that is where a lot of things can get trapped in your feelings. And you're ruminating over stuff. One event may have happened. And, every event has its intensity. But one event may have happened and you've been ruminating for over 10, 15, 20 years about it. Especially if it's perceived to you as traumatic. Because, I remember back when I moved out on my own in the late 80s, middle 80s, I guess. And I started getting into reading these self-help books that were 300 to 500 pages long. I started delving into meditation. There were some pioneers in meditation at that time that I gravitated to. And I started uncovering things and it kind of helped me to realize, okay, what is fantasy and what's real? Because for a long time I was just living in fantasy about my identity. I thought I was one of the little boys. I really did for a long time. Because of what was said to me about, what boys and girls are supposed to do. Okay, I knew I did not like playing with baby dolls. Hell no, don't put a baby doll in my face. Okay, but I did remember having a little stuffed toy, but oh no, no. Okay, and dressing up, oh no, and wearing makeup and stuff like that. That stuff was just like, okay, get it away from me. Even though as I got older, I participated in all that because that's what I saw other girls doing around me. So, but inside there was just something that had to be resolved and developed properly. And thankfully, I was able to do it during my early adult time, so that it didn't go into, when I was so-called an adult. Most of my identity of myself was resolved when I was 18. One day it just snapped. Something snapped and said, "Look, this is who you are right here. You're not a boy." And I knew I'm not a boy. I thought they were disgusting, honestly, and I'm gonna say it. They were disgusting to me. Oh, now just okay. Take it as you choose to. Literally, figuratively, metaphorically. So, yeah, it was like when I turned 18, it was like a light bulb moment. I don't like to say that. It was just like a revelation. It was an opening. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, let's figure out how to deal with it. And so that's how the journey started as well in that regard. So I didn't allow it a lot of stuff about who I am per se to linger into my early adulthood, and thus thereon. I resolved it. I put myself in therapy in my 20s, early 20s, because something said to me, I need to do this. I need to have some clarification about things. And I had I thought they were, they probably didn't know how wonderful they were to me, because they validated that I wasn't crazy. That what I was experiencing was a process of developing into an adult. You're gonna have some questions about everything. You ought to. You're gonna have questions about your identity. Who the hell am I? What am I? Those are the kind of things that you're supposed to go through, and you're supposed to make mistakes in understanding who you are. But like I said, we are so extreme. We are very badly out of control of the control of our good human nature. There's a one word that describes that, but I can't pronounce the word, and it's irrelevant. But actually, I told you don't spend too much time on words. Just kind of see if you can follow me and visualize with me, hear me, and feel me as I. So you're supposed to go through those stages of development, making mistakes and identifying yourself, being confused, taking on several kind of jobs, thinking you're going to school for this and to discover you want to do this. I mean, those are all the kind of natural factors I've learned that you're supposed to go through. And a lot of people were trying to oh no, you need to know what kind of career you're going to make, and you need to hurry up and get married, you need to hurry up and have some children, and there was just a whole lot of programming going on and indoctrination going on. And thankfully, like I said, my parents did not. I don't remember them pushing anything. My dad used to push benefits, having benefits, on a job that gives you benefits, because he was concerned about health insurance. Okay. And I think a lot of people kind of stay on jobs because there's something flying in here. I'm just trying to get it. But some people are stay in jobs because they want the health insurance. And then when there was when the opportunity came to have universal health care, that was fought like it was a war against that, where everyone were available to get health insurance, whether you had a job or not. So, developing your consciousness, evolving your consciousness, elevating your consciousness, which is, the words are meaningless per se, it's about the action and the behavior. We have been conditioned and programmed and indoctrinated to put forward these fake personas. Yes, we're gonna have egos. Okay, an ego is necessary, but is a fake persona necessary? To embellish, your childhood traumas, and a lot of us are. What exactly do you remember? And you do this silently with yourself. Because I said you can't fool your consciousness. So if you are stuck on a reality that did not exist, you're going to be thrown into situations to resolve it via experiences. That's why some people are victims of stuff over and over and over and over and over, because there's something that's not being processed properly, or something that's not resolved properly. Who knows? Only the individual knows. Only the individual knows what they're saying in their head, if they're conscious, but most of them are not. Most are unconscious. So they're blaming what's going on outside of them on what's going on inside of them. So again, we're all going to have to deal with our issues of our contradictions, and our logical subconscious is going to make that known by any means necessary. Okay, some of us are coming to a reflection point in your life where where there's like flashing lights and a lot of sound effects, maybe visual effects. You're feeling something, and it needs to be resolved. That's why some people have issues with completing their goals and reaching destinations. They want to stay in that journey. Oh no, they want to stay in that journey. They don't want to dare get out of the get to a destination, because there's what? Uncertainty there. Some things may not turn out as you had hoped they would, but you still have to keep it going either way. You still have to get there. So a lot of people just like staying in the journey, always making the same resolutions every year. Every year is the same resolution. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to take up another language. I'm going to, change careers. I'm going to, it's the same resolutions every year. And what's great about it is if you keep going and get out of the journey and get to your destination, it can open up other possibilities for you. And sometimes it allows you to snap out of stuff. It's like, wait a second, why was that journey so important? You realize, okay, that's not even important. It's irrelevant right now. It has no value anymore. Certain things have no value. And I would say most of that political sphere, it's a sphere, it doesn't have the same value, or no one knows what the intentions were either for a lot of things to have created such a monster of politics where they cause more harm than good. Always having people on alert that something's about to happen. That scare tactics. Hide under your beds. We're about to, So there's a lot of series of events that are, that we are going to have to face, that were not tended to and just went unconscious for years and decades and centuries possibly, where we're going to have to, face it one way or another. Okay, now, at your final hours, possibly? No, I mean, it could be. I mean, because at your final hours, you do resolve things. You have to. And that, I'll get into that another time. Otherwise, you're passing on your baton to another personality that has to deal with their situation, and then still have impulses of stuff that wasn't resolved, because that's what you get the impulse of things, and that's just energy. It's all energy, but you have to be abstract about it and think about the possibilities. You know, we don't know the possibilities and the power and the might of energy. We don't, because otherwise, like I said, we would know what we're doing in our thoughts, and immediately realize what we're creating via our thoughts. You know, some of the unforeseen events, because we're unconsciously just rolling in our thoughts, ruminating in our thoughts about things. So there's a lot going on. I'm going to talk about a whole lot. I've talked about enough. How about that? But the lying and the secrecy and lying has to be faced and acknowledged and resolved before some of you experience unnecessary tragedies, trauma, events, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Effects is what it is. It's cause and effect is what it is. And so that you can take some of this pressure off of you for holding on to something that doesn't even belong to you, number one, and it becomes your responsibility when you're complicit. Release that responsibility. The same thing with lying is going to be, like I said, I think for people that are lying, they have that pathological, acute lying. There's not much of a chance, and I shouldn't even use that. There's not much of enough of an opportunity for them to come out of that. They've already seeped themselves into an abyss of, and they're not. There's because it's brought them benefits, and it's created an identity. If they were to unveil who they really are, and who they won't be able to face that, and their chances are they're going to take themselves out. And that's why you hear a lot of people, when they are finally caught up in their lies, before they face accountability for that, they take their life. So enjoy your mistakes. And that's literally, figuratively, metaphorically. Recognize what mistakes can do for your developing and evolving yourself. A lot of these high profile celebrities will have to resolve, they have a lot of things to resolve about who they are, what they are, why they are, and why they projected such an image towards all of us that watch them, and some that are obsessed with them. They're going to have to come to they're going to have to come to more of a resolution than the most of us. Okay, because most of us, don't live that way. We have no idea what it's like to be a billionaire. At least I have no desire to know that, because of my work on myself. I don't need that. So a lot of them have swept themselves up in a whirlpool, and they're not free at all. Don't let them fool you. And with this talking about happiness, I can guarantee you they have no idea what happiness is. I've been listening to that. It's a bunch of rambling, in my opinion, and garbage. Okay, because someone said, they're pushing happiness now. So I heard something said, like, this person said, because he said, I had to ask somebody what happiness is, because this person appears to be happy to me. Now, what is now? And you tell me they're supposed to be an expert on happiness, because he ought to know what happiness is, because it ought to be within him. Why are you asking? See, that's what I'm telling you. When people realize what you're looking for and searching for, they're gonna overnight become experts in it. And I didn't pay attention. Sometimes all I need to hear is bits and pieces of tones and sounds from people, and I know right away, okay, there's a contradiction there. Because either you have it within you or not. But if you have to ask someone, what is happiness? And then use that to be an expert at happiness. You understand what I mean about all this contradiction? So I can guarantee you there's more envy and jealousy from that pyramid of people on people like us, from I to we to us, because we are operating in reality. We know our situations are not, grand, but we make the best of it. Like this neighborhood, there's all walks of life in this neighborhood, all colors and nationalities. Okay, I can tell by there's some retirees in here. Yeah, I'm one of them. Children, you hear children crying and playing all night. The sun was down. What was all that about? All type of vehicles in here, high luxury vehicles that are like band-aid together, So, and that's why I want to be here right now in this particular environment right now, so I can get the actual sense of a reality that's real. This is reality here. It's not fantasy, like Hollywood. Most of those, these elite Hollywood actors and actresses, they're in fantasy and delusion. A lot of them, especially when they attempt to come forward and tell people how to live, when everything was handed to them. They are benefiting from nepotism, old money. Their parents, that were something before, helping them in the door, putting them in front of everybody, skipping lines. Okay, so and knowing a lot of these elite actors and actresses would not be where they are unless it was something that was projected towards them. In other words, created for them. Whether it was written for them or whatever the case may be, they would be ignored possibly if it wasn't for the people around them, the circle of people around them, developing them and bestowing them and putting them on pedestals. Where they're applying their makeup, clothing, or whatever. And then they go around think they are Superman because they're pretending to be Superman. That's delusional. That's what children do. And these are supposed to be adults. Okay, so of course I won't be back. Again, I hope everybody's doing fantastic, magnificently, and marvelous, because I am. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and start my day, eating and having me something to eat and drink, and enjoy the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna send peace and love, but trust me, I'll be back.